Welcome back to our channel, Dr. Stethoscope. Today I'm going to take a new lecture on typical cervical vertebra. I have told you that C1, C2 and C7 are typical cervical vertebrae, atypical cervical vertebrae, and from C3 to C6 are typical one. And what do you mean by typical and atypical? Typical means same, approximately same characteristics. The people or the things showing approximately the same characteristics are known as atypical, and atypical means that having different characteristics. So from C3 to C6, these cervical vertebrae are showing same characteristics other than C1, C2 and C7, which one are atlas, axis and vertebral prominence. So now in the figure you are seeing the typical cervical vertebra for C3, C4, C5 and C6 have the same structures, approximately the same structures for everyone. So I'm going to explain each and every point regarding this session. Look, this is a types the different views of cervical vertebrae. This is a superior view, inferior view, anterior, lateral, posterior, and these you have to identify by yourself. Body is small, broader from side to side. I will tell you once more. Body is small, broader from side to side. You can see that body is small, broader. This is a body. The body is small, broader. Okay. Then from side to side it is broader. Look, the side to side it's broader. Here side to side it's broader. Okay. Then superior surfaces concave with the upward lips projecting transversely. Superior surfaces are concave. You look, this is in concave shape, is it? This is concave with upward lip projection transversely. You can see that here it is concave and having two lips upward, is it? Then beveled inferior border. Beveled inferior border. It is the inferior border are beveled. Inferior surface is saddle shaped, and the inferior surfaces is saddle shaped. Inferior surface is saddle shaped. Anterior border projecting downward and hide intervertebral disc. What do you mean by that? You can see here that here intervertebral disc are here. Intervertebral disc are between. I have already tell you that between C1 and C2 there is no intervertebral disc, but between C2, C3, C4, C5 and C6 there are intervertebral disc. That means that the typical cervical vertebrae is underneath, which means that inferior surface is having the intervertebral disc, in which these intervertebral discs are hidden due to the saddle shaped inferior surfaces. I hope you have understand that. Okay. Then vertebral foramen is larger than the body, triangular in shape, such because pedicles project backward and laterally. You can see here the image that vertebral foramen is larger than the body. You can see that this is the body and this is a vertebral foramen. Vertebral foramen is larger than the body, triangular in shape. It's a triangular in shape because pedicles project backwards and laterally. What do you mean by pedicles? Here look, these are pedicles. These are pedicles. Okay, the pedicles are situated backward. You look, just it's inward like this. If it is pedicles, see, like these are pedicles. Look, it's situated backward. It's situated downwards. Okay, and laterally. Due to that, the vertebral foramen is larger than the body. Okay, then you can see here that superior and inferior vertebral notch are equal in size. I will tell you afterwards, after these sessions about cervical vertebra. We will take a whole cervical vertebra together from C1 to C7, and I will explain about the vertebral notch and the differences between the vertebral notch in each and every cervical vertebra. Okay. Here I have shown you the superior view, and you can see here the bifid spinous processes, and then the lamina, superior articular facets, foramen transversarium, which is only for C vertebra, which is cervical vertebra, then the body, then the vertebral foramen, transverse processes, and the pedicle here. Okay, and this is a this is okay, and this is anterior view showing it is concave in superior position and beveled, saddle shaped in inferior position. Okay, then lamina is long and narrow, thinner below. Lamina, what do you mean by lamina? I have showed you the lamina here. This portion is lamina. This portion is lamina. Lamina is long and narrow, thinner below. Okay, it is long, narrow, thinner below, which means that if the top portion is like this, that means it will be narrow underneath. It will be narrow. I hope you have understand. If it is a front view, this is a inferior and this is a superior, and I am showing this part as this part and this as this part. I hope you have understand that the lamina's upper surface is thicker and the lower surface is thinner. Okay, that's it. Then superior inferior articular processes project to joint the pedicle and lamina. I have already show you the image about that. Superior inferior articular facets. See, superior and superior, here it is a superior articular facet and here it is inferior articular facet, and this superior articular facet and inferior articular facet forms joints between it is situated between the joint of lamina and the pedicle. So these inferior articular facet and superior articular facet situated between the joint of pedicle and lamina, okay. Then have tubercles in transverse foramen. Here you can see the tubercles in transverse processes or transverse foramen. Then spine is short and bifid. You can see here that the spine is short. The spine is short and bifid. Spine is short and bifid. So these are the general characteristics of cervical vertebra, which is typical cervical vertebra. I hope you have understand this session. If you have any question, feel free to ask any type of doubts in my comment section. So I will come in next class with the atypical cervical vertebra C7, and I will post the video on next week. Thank you for watching. Feel free to ask any doubts in comment section. And I have to tell you one more thing, that in case of cervical vertebra, thoracic vertebra, lumbar vertebra and sacral and coccygeal, if you have any idea, if you have having not any idea about the numbers, which of them are typical, atypical and non-typical and all, if you are thinking hard to think what all these things and what's the number, you don't need to worry about that, because just go through the flashcards. If you make your own flashcards, you can remember the number of cervical vertebrae and number of thoracic, and there are typical and atypical numbers. Okay, I will take a video about how to make flashcards by showing how to write the typical and atypical numbers, and you can, it is also very easy to remember when you are for your exams. And it is very important to study the name of C1, C2 and C7. And there are 12 thoracic vertebrae. Out of 12 thoracic vertebrae, there are many atypical and typical ones. And in lumbar, there are also atypical and atypical, and the sacrum, cosclegial and sacrum are it's common, but still there are also typical and atypical. So it is very tough to identify and to remember what all are the things are typical and atypical. So be careful while you are studying. I hope you have enjoyed this class. See you in next class. I will tell you about how to study, and I will post you a video about how to make a flashcard. Thank you.